Hello students, I am Dr. M. Bhushanam, Assistant Professor in Zoology, Maharani Science College for Women, Bengaluru. Hope all is well. Take care of your good health during this pandemic situation. Today we shall learn another topic in zoology related to paper 7, Developmental Biology and Organic Evolution. That is 3.2, Role of Evolutionary Forces in Speciation, and at this B, Mutations. First, we shall understand the concept of mutations that acts as evolutionary force in the process of speciation. The objective is to study the role of mutations in the process of evolution. Content includes role of evolutionary forces in speciation, and at this B, mutations. Coming on to the introduction part of mutations. Mutation, as you were learning from your previous semesters, can be defined as a sudden change in the sequence of genetic material, that is, nucleotides of DNA. As we all know, DNA is made up of units called as nucleotides or nitrogenous bases like adenine, guanine, cytosine, and thymidine. It is a double-stranded segment. Any change in the given sequence of DNA for a gene could result in the process of mutation. It is caused by high energy radiations or mutagenic chemical infectious substances or agents like viruses, etc. It is a random process where any cell of any organism, when is exposed to these mutagens, results in the process of sudden change in the DNA, which we call it as mutation. So, it's a process which occurs by chance in the organisms. We do find mutations which occurs by chance, called as spontaneous mutations, which occurs during the replication of DNA, which acts as the primary source of any genetic variations that we have learned in the previous session. It was Hugo de Vries who explained the concept of mutation in 4 o'clock plant called Inothera lamarckiana species. In this slide, towards the right side of the right side is the photo pic of Hugo de Vries. Mutations are broadly classified into two types. Number 1, gene or point mutations. Number 2, chromosomal aberrations. In point mutations, a single nucleotide shows change of the DNA sequence. It takes place by the processes of deletion, where a nucleotide sequence is removed. Substitution, where instead of one nucleotide, another nucleotide may be added. Or duplication, where along with one nucleotide, similar nucleotide is added up. Or it could be insertion, where a new nucleotide is added up. Or it could be translocation, where the position of a nucleotide itself changes. So point mutations or point substitutions are common mutations that we find in the first type. The second type that we have is chromosomal aberrations. In chromosomal aberrations, a large group of nucleotides, or in simple, a segment of DNA on a chromosome, may show the change, generally during unequal crossing over of meiosis. Chromosomal aberrations takes place with the help of transposable elements, jumping genes we otherwise call it as. The effect of mutations may be harmful or beneficial. If mutations occurs in the body cells, they are restricted only to that mutant organism and that cannot be inherited. Such mutations are called as somatic mutations. So somatic mutations occurs in body cells. But if mutation takes place in gametic cells, the result is these mutagenic changes will be passed on to the generations. So the next generation of individuals show the genetic variations or change in the genetic makeup. Such change is called as germline mutations. So down in the picture of the slide, you can find how mutations will help in the change in the gene and chromosomes. First, towards left side, we find the population, original population, which undergoes mutation upon exposure to the mutagens. So when you see in the group, during gamete formation, some of the gametes will show the mutagenic genes that they carry. Thus, when they involve in the process of fertilization and zygote formation, totally the zygote that is formed will show variations in them. So this is the importance of mutations. Some mutations causes loss of phenotypic characters of organisms, which we call it as a deleterious effect. It generally leads to genetical disorders. Example, loss of 5p arm in human population causes Cri-du-Chat syndrome or Cat's-Cry syndrome. There are mutations where the result is useful for the mutant form for its survival. So as I explained in the previous slide, we have original population. During gamete formation, there occurs mutagen exposure. So mutation has occurred in certain genes of the gametes. So when those gametes involving the mutations, when are involved in the process of zygote formation, that zygote will have a totally different genetic makeup compared to the rest of the individuals of offsprings, and that forms the mutant form. So it is inheritable change that suddenly takes place in the genetic makeup of organisms. So there are mutations where we find those mutations or genetic variations help the organisms or mutant forms to survive better in the environment. So it's a positive effect. And the result is fitness of organism to the changed environment. So it is also called as adaptation, as what we have learned in the previous slide and session. So down in this slide of the slide is the picture that depicts how frequency of lowercase a, that is small a, during its gamete formation changes to capital A or uppercase A. That further results in the new individuals which are suitable for the changing environment. So mutations are essential driving force that acts randomly on the given population, showing the genetic variations. So these lines you will have to remember. So how mutation acts as a force for the genetic variation, it is through the process of inheritance and adaptation. Mutations alters the genetic frequency of a gene pool in the given population. So all of a sudden, when there is a change in gene sequence, that is mutation, the allelic frequency totally changes. So gene pool also varies. Next result or impact of mutation results is formation of new alleles which are entirely different from that of the original population. Hence, mutation acts as a primary source of genetic variations, and the third impact is these genetic variants or new alleles now spreads through the process of reproduction, forming a new species of organisms. So this is about the importance of impact of mutations on the frequency of alleles. Next we have the new species of populations obtained is ecologically, physiologically different from the original population. However, the new species of population formed initially will be in very small groups or small number. Here in the picture, the dark shade towards most right side is a mutant form. You can see as it moves down to generation, slowly there is increase in number of this dark shaded individuals. So what's happening? The mutation which is seen in the individuals called mutants are slowly increasing in their number. Here are few examples to cite how mutation acts as a force of evolution. The ancestral snakes for family Elapidae and Viperidae showed the common ancestors. Elapidae includes sea snakes, coral snakes and cobras, and vipers includes rattlesnakes and razzle vipers, etc. Family Elapidae that includes snakes of all these varieties as we have noted now shows the venom which affects the nervous system, whereas the venom of Viperidae family snakes affects the cardiovascular system. Even though we have the common ancestors, we can find the action of venom what these family of snakes produce is totally different. The system itself is varying. So, Elapidae will attack the nervous system and Viperidae will attack the cardiovascular system of the victims. So, the diversification of venom activity of these two family of snakes is merely due to mutations that took place over a period of time. Another example to cite is grey tree frog of North America. In this species of frog, their ancestor failed to undergo meiosis correctly before the process of sexual reproduction. So the mutational effect is a duplication of every chromosome pair which is seen in this variety of frog. So there is totally a new species of tree frog suddenly seen in the generations, which is called as the process of instant speciation. We can see that grey frog there. The original frog is green color. The grey color frog is due to duplication of every chromosomal pair in them. So this is called as instant speciation. Students, to summarize what we have understood till now, mutation is a genetic change that suddenly takes place in the DNA, which occurs randomly in the given population. The germinal mutation causes much genetic variations which are noticed in the generations of organism, leading to the formation of new species. Hence, mutation acts as the basis or raw material for any evolutionary processes that suddenly occurs in the nature. So it's a basis for even the process of speciation. Let's answer the questions of MCQs now. Question 1. A mutation is any change in the dash of a gene or chromosome. It is DNA of a gene or chromosome. So answer is A. Excuse me. MCQ 2. What kind of mutation is caused by addition of a new nucleotide to the original sequence? We call it as insertion. Answer is B. The building blocks of DNA are called nucleotides. So answer is D. Mutations can benefit humans because they can cause illness, make an organism more suited to live in its environment, make organisms live short lives, cause organisms to grow extra limbs. So answer is B, make an organism more suited to live in its environment. So this is what we call it as adaptation. What causes mutations? Mistakes in replication or environmental substances, amino acids, passed down by genetics, none of the above. So answer is A, mistakes during replication process. Question 6. A beneficial mutation has occurred in the entire population of organism what species is said to have. So what that species is gained, will they undergo extinction, or will they evolve, evolute and enter into evolution, or both go extinction and evolution? None of this. The answer is B, evolved evolution it shows. What is the gene that was degraded in the snakes that led to their evolution without legs? So scientists have recently discovered that the legs of snakes, which were seen in their ancestors, were lost in the present generation, was due to the loss or mutation in the gene called ZRS gene. So it's a part of the gene which undergoes mutation. So the gene we call it as ZRS gene. So what's the outcome? Students, we have learned that the role of mutations helps in genetic variations that brings in new species. So mutations is a process, a force that helps in the process of evolution. Coming on to the references of website, it includes Wikipedia and Britannica. Book references includes Organic Evolution by Veerabala Rastogi, Cell Biology, Genetics, Molecular Biology, Evolution and Ecology by Verma and Agarwal. Thank you all students. If you have any queries and comments, please post it to my personal WhatsApp number. Wish you all a very good day ahead.